It's Stu. Welcome to another Lost in Space video. Followers of this channel will know that I am absolutely huge on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. So it's time to look at a Voyage episode that was very Lost in Space-ish. But before I go on, I have to get something out of the way. I might love Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, but I'm fully aware that some people simply don't like it. Is it because it's more serious, very grim, and maybe some people prefer the light-hearted approach of Lost in Space? Is it because the star of the show in front of you was sometimes a grumpy old son of a bitch? Is it because the submarine sea view was often seen lurching from left to right with fireworks going off in the control room? Well, I find that a bit hard to believe. I mean, fireworks, Irwin Allen shows were all filled with fireworks. I mean, look at Lost in Space. I mean, that had fireworks going off all over the place. Maybe the comments made by co-star David Hedison is the issue. Over the years, David Hedison has sort of criticised Voyage for its use of monsters, and more monsters. Well, a monster is what this video is all about. It's time to look at the episode titled Doomsday Island, which came in Season 3. When Lost in Space was doing Season 2, Voyage was doing Season 3. This episode got many reruns in my 1970s Australian childhood. In the 1970s, only 22 colour episodes of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea were in syndication. All the rest were kept on the shelf because they were viewed as too violent or grim for afternoon viewings, but Doomsday Island was one of those 22 colour episodes that got repeated over and over again. But if you're a Lost in Space fan who's never really gotten into Voyage, maybe this would be a good episode to start because it is, as I say, very Lost in Space-ish. This episode has a nice pull-out all stops action feeling about it. It begins with a mysterious giant egg in the Seaview missile room. The egg breaks open and look what comes out. This moment is an example of how touchy Australian censorship was in the 1970s. Right now the creature is about to attempt to strangle this crewman, but this was cut out. I mean, we don't see much violence, but just the insinuation of what was about to happen. This bit was cut too grim for the kiddies. What a strict censorship rule place my country of Australia has. You might be wondering which episodes of Lost in Space did this creature appear in. Initially he appeared in Season 2's The Phantom Family. He was also seen in Season 3's The Antimatter Man. Voyage was more violent than Lost in Space. I'm not saying it's sort of equivalent to what goes on TV today, but Voyage compared to Lost in Space was definitely more violent. This is another example of a scene that was cut from Australian television. The alien is pushing this guy against a wall and obviously killing him. Too violent for Australian television. Wow, things have changed. But then again, looking at this moment in front of you, it is sort of maybe a bit too much for some kids of today. On top of everything else I've told you, some of the music cues in this episode were also used in Lost in Space. Wow, this creature is really going for it, isn't it? Anyway, I hope this has inspired some people to give Voyage a go. Stu from Australia, signing out.